this is going to be the glitch exhibition, or at least an example glitch exhibition for the Talos Principal Community % donation incentive. So you probably noticed this video is quite long. We have a lot of glitches. Our plan's basically just to go as long as we can before you cut us off. So let's get right into it. I should note I'm using cheats for this exhibition because it makes it faster. So you can see we're already back in B5. Much quicker than if we'd done this normally.
This be our covenant.
So first thing to do, let's look at this cube. You'll see there are 2 feet on top of it. So a cube, that's literally just a box, you can put it on buttons and you can jump on it. Well, those 2 feet, they're part of a guided jump, which is a special mechanic to make parkour a bit easier. So some puzzles you do have to climb up cubes, so all I'm doing is pressing jump and it goes straight on it. Well, it turns out if we combine that jumping animation with the sliding animation from grabbing something across the barrier, the game gets kind of confused. Now, that particular thing might not look too useful, but it actually is where exactly we go depends on our frame rate and our player speed. So if I just went to 25 FPS slow, and you can see I went nowhere near as far. And then let's go back up to a more useful setting. Something else fun we can do with these guided jumps. So you know, if I go into my menu and start holding space here, I'll slide towards the cube instead. This is important because it lets us set up something else. So if I, from the other side of the purple barrier, slide to the cube and quickly drop and pick up an item, the item blocks my path, and it triggers a failsafe where you just teleport straight to the cube. Because I never touched this purple barrier, which normally makes you drop your item, I can bring it straight through. Now we can do something similar with slides on a fan here. So if I just do a slide normally, nothing really happens, but if I also mash jump right afterwards, you see I sort of get flung back and forth like that. And if you're lucky enough, you can even get a guided jump at the end of the fling and get straight on top of a wall. We call this a fan slide. That's a vertical fan. They look a little different if you have diagonal fans like this one, but they're still kind of equally useful. Now let's go into a new glitch. This is going to use the recorder, which it's kind of in the name, it records you doing some stuff, and you can play it back and interact with whatever physics changes you did. It turns out if you have an object constantly in motion, like say this cube, and you just mash through the recorder, hopefully that's enough. Whoa, what happened there? Well, that's new. But we now have a few more cubes than we did before. And this leads nicely into another weird glitch, which we can only really use here. So as it turns out, cube stacks are actually very unstable. So 3 or 4 is fine, but once you get to about 8 or 9 cubes on top of each other, they start just completely falling over no matter what you do. It's because the ground has tiny imperfections everywhere. Just a single vertex might be 0.01 higher than another, which causes them to go unstable. Now on this span they have a simulated perfectly flat floor, so they're fine right now, but when I drop them, the game kinda freaks out. This can just go on and on. It's better the more cubes you put in. You'll notice small bits keep falling off when it gets, when it splits into enough small pieces they all become stable again. But the longer we go for, the better that looks. Let's move on to a different world. B6 particularly has one special glitch we can only really show off here. So there's an Easter egg up here, where if you press this TV you get a small animation thing. Well, as it turns out, this is actually being rendered in-world right over here. And they're using a specific small camera here to just take a picture of the scene and display it on that TV. Now, for whatever reason, we think it's a remnant from the old Serious Sam cutscene. For whatever reason, this also makes you invincible to turrets. Fortunately, it's not the most useful thing because you can't collect sigils, but it is interesting. Moving straight along, let's go to C1. We're using C1 specifically because this has some fun items. You remember we used a Gnar foot to do some of the tricks in the realm. And now we're going to grab the Gnar head. Just because this item is particularly fun with this glitch. It works with any two items. So we're going to just open this barrier. And now, if you're sliding towards an item, it turns out weird things happen if you grab something else along the way. And this actually has all sorts of weird properties. You'll notice if I try to drop this, my cube moves. I actually did that in the wrong order. I want to pick up the Gnar head first, which has a better effect. But there are all sorts of interesting features of this. Now my arm's kind of broke. You can see this like an outline here. Essentially what's happening is it thinks I'm holding this item which is actually in the world, and it thinks I'm standing at its position facing its direction. So if it was, this is where the outline would be for placing it. That's why it places there. You can also do fun stuff if it's an item which you can configure specially, like a jammer. So let's just place this jammer here, jamming that barrier. Let's use a cube so this doesn't look too bad. If I grab the jammer but grab a cube instead, it means I'm now holding that jammer, so I can also tell it, why don't you jam this barrier? And it changes. It's a very interesting glitch. If I grab, here's a fan, one last item. I can also show off something else kind of interesting. So normally when you walk into a purple barrier, it just drops the item at your feet. But if you activate this glitch first, it teleports it to the closer side of the barrier. Which means in rare cases where we can activate it on the opposite side of one of these barriers, we can actually use it to break items out. Let's go over to C2, this is another fun glitch. So we briefly mentioned recorder before, we record yourself doing actions. Well, platform is an item that works well with recorder. It lets you record a platform for you to stand on. But it has some weird properties, especially if I come into this corner and jump. So nothing special happened there, but if I actually get on top of this platform... This isn't the only place this works, it's just one of the most consistent to activate it. But I kind of fall through the floor. And what's more, if I try move now, you'll notice I just start floating. This is called float glitch. Essentially, to try to keep you stuck to the platform while you're on it, you get put in a different physics state. And when a recording ends, while you're on a platform, it never removes that state. If you drop the platform or if you jump off of it, you remove the state. But not if it just gets cancelled, which it always does when you jump in this corner for some reason. Unfortunately, this isn't very useful because we have no way to get out of it. But if we did have like a line up to get towards a specific sigil, we could collect it. Not that you're going to notice it right now. Now let's go back to A hub. Let me actually leave the world first. Now, remember we specifically shouted out don't cross the stream? It was the level we had to do the terrible 15 FPS jump, worst jump in the game. Well, with items it's a tad easier. Remember, it's called don't cross the streams, we're not meant to cross them like this. So let's quickly activate this one. So you'll notice if I walk through this laser here, it doesn't get interrupted. If I stand in it for a while, it does. Well, it turns out while it's fading out like that, it's actually invincible. So if they keep standing in both of these beams, they just become invincible to each other, and you can run straight through that barrier. There's another fun use of this in A5, right next door. There are actually quite a few, but these are just the easiest to set up. So here we have a buzzer, which will interrupt the stream for us, as you can see. But it's probably a bit more of a clear example. It's just completely invincible if I'm standing in it at the same time. I mistimed it. Right, clipping. So now this is going to be a quick sneak peek into how we do 80% normally. So if we grab an item from the tower, come down here. So this does require a kind of precise lineup, but we all know it because it's for 80%. Here we have two different sloped surfaces. There's this snowy hill and there's this thing at the base of the tower. So if I can get in the right position without falling down, let's just hope it works. If I go to low enough frame rates, okay, that did not work. If I go to low enough frame rates and place an item while in between two slopes, let's try it on this side. Okay, right now I just got stuck, which isn't that helpful, but the game gets really confused with three different sources of collision, and here we can actually clip through walls, as long as there are multiple different slopes, and we're at low frame rate with an item pushing us. And there's kind of similar glitch we can do, which let's go to 4-3-4. Actually I want to grab a jammer for this. So in this case you'll notice there's a very small gap between this wall and the wall of the tower. So if I go to 15 FPS again, and if I can remember my lineup. Okay, so you see I kind of clipped into the wall. We call this a half clip because you can never actually get all the way through. You never get more than halfway. But you can use that at low frame rates to get through incredibly small gaps like that. So specifically what's happening is we're using the half clip to go basically right against the wall, so our center fits through this gap. And then at 15 FPS you can just make it through small gaps like that. In this case it's actually really helpful because there's a star hidden over here which requires a whole lot of extra work to get to otherwise. So we do actually use this in all Sigils runs when we get that star. Aside from that, I don't think any major impressive glitches come to mind. You either use a lot of them in the run or you don't get what's happening, so that pretty much concludes the glitch exhibition example. Oh, it was pretty long, but like we said, we'll go until you cut us off. Thank you for watching. Alright, so one more glitch I actually forgot to mention because we have to do this. We don't have to, but it's shown off best in the editor. The editor gives us some extra console commands so we can do stuff like show a few of these hitboxes. So this grey or yellow box is the hitbox of the store. And there's something that just happens randomly, I'm surprised I got that second try. When you try open the door without having the key, sometimes its hitbox just starts spinning like this. It's the weirdest thing. There's seemingly no consistency to it. It can spin in different directions at different speeds. Sometimes it spins, like here it's going in a horizontal line, sometimes it spins across a diagonal line instead. It actually very slowly moves while it's doing this. So you'll notice it's not quite lined up with the center of the model anymore. And it can also just randomly stop. It's a very weird glitch. Because it's inconsistent, we'll probably have one of us is going to show off all the other glitches while the other's just going to try get it in the editor. And when they get it, they'll show it off at that time. Because it's probably one of the coolest looking ones we have too.